All right, guys, so we are going to talk about lesson 104, which takes place on page 660 if you have your textbook. Now, we talked about improper fractions and the difference between them and mixed numbers in a previous lesson. And now today we are going to learn about how to change an improper fraction into a mixed number. Or if there's no remainder, it changes it into a whole number. So a quick review on improper fractions. If the numerator of a fraction is equal to or greater than the denominator, the fraction is called an improper fraction. And all of these I've drawn here below are examples of them. So see how the numerators, which are the top numbers of the fraction, they're all equal to or greater than the denominator, which is the bottom part of the fraction. Okay? Now equal to, like this one, 5 over 5, which actually is equal to 1, right? Like we learned in our other lesson. That is still called an improper fraction. So if it's equal to or greater, like this 9 over 4, it is an improper fraction. Okay, so just a quick review on that. So what we're going to do in this lesson is learn how to change these improper fractions back into a mixed number or a whole number, right? So make them not improper anymore, basically. So what we have to do here is divide. So we need to write this 13/5 as a mixed number and then draw a picture to show that the improper fraction or mixed number are equal. So we're basically going to be doing what we did in our previous lesson with drawing the circles and the pictures to show that they're the same. But before we do that, we just have to change the improper fraction into the mixed number version. So I'm going to show you how to do that today. So basically, we're going to take this 13 and bring it down and make a division problem. Okay, so we have 5 divided by 13. So your denominator, your bottom part of your fraction, is your divisor. Okay, and so we're going to divide 13, which is our numerator, by our denominator, which is 5. So 5 goes into 13 twice. If we multiply 2 times 5, we get 10. Subtract, and you have 3 left over. Okay, now knowing what to do with this information is now the tricky part. So up here, the answer to the division problem, that is the whole number. Okay, so in our mixed number, the 2 is the whole number. Now our denominator, which I earlier said was the 5, that stays the same. Okay, so we can come over here and write our denominator. Now the part that's left that we haven't used yet is this remainder. Now in this problem, our remainder is the 3. And that is our numerator. Okay, so that's it. That's all you have to do to change 13/5 into a mixed number, which is 2 3/5. Now, to draw this out in circles to show that we are correct, to show that 2/3 or 2 3/5 and 13/5 are equal, we need to draw our circles. Okay, so just like we did before, we need 2 whole circles because we have 2 3/5, and then we need another one for the fraction. So I'm going to do a different color here and make 3 circles. Okay, kind of squeeze them in here. Now we need to split these into fifths. Do my best here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we have 3 circles that are split into fifths. So now we need to shade them in to prove that 13/5 is equal to our new mixed number that we created here, 2 and 3/5. Okay, so if we shade these in, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5/5 so far. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so that's 13/5. Now does that look the same as 2 and 3/5? Well, we have 1, 2, 2 holes, and then we have 3/5 right here. So yes, we are correct. Our 2 and 3/5 is the right mixed number that is equal to 13/5. Okay, so basically all you have to do is this little division problem, and then you just have to know how to take the numbers from your answer and put them into the mixed number. Okay, so let's move on to another example, because seeing another one will help. Example number 2, we have 10/3, and this is another mixed number one here. So we have to do our mini division problem. Let's use green this time. Okay, so just remember to take the top number, bring it down. And remember, fractions really are another way of writing division problems out, right? Do you guys remember that? There's 3 different forms of writing a division problem. So it's really nothing new there. You're just dividing it. So we have 3 divided by 10. And once you get the hang of these are actually pretty easy to do in your head. So if you think about it, how many times does 3 go into 10? You can probably do that in your head right away. And you know that 3, 3, 3 makes 9 with 1 left over. So you have 3 holes, 1 left over. So it would be 3 and 1/3. So once you get good at it, you can just do these right away in your head. But until you get used to it, we'll just write them out. So 3 goes into 10. We know 3 times 3 is 9. So we know 3 goes into 10 3 times. So 3 times 3 is 9. We have our remainder of 1. Okay, so like we said before, our denominator, right, doesn't change. So we can right away write that over here. We know that that does not change. Now our whole number is the answer to our division problem. So that's the whole number. Okay, so that's going to be 3. And then our remainder is our numerator. Okay, so this right here is the numerator. And that goes right there. So our new mixed number is 3 and 1/3. So 10/3 is equal to 3 and 1/3. Or so we say. So we need to draw some circles here to prove ourselves. So 3 and 1/3. So we know we need at least 3 circles, right? And then since we have a fraction, we need another one to fill in for that. So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4 circles. And if you do the wrong number of circles initially, you can always erase one, right? No big deal. Okay, so we know they're thirds, so we need to split these into thirds. Make your little peace signs in there, or Y's. Split them up into thirds. Okay. Now, 10/3 and 3 and 1/3 are what we're going for here. So we can just count 10/3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so we have 3 and 1/3. Right here we have 1, 2, 3 whole circles, which makes up our whole number 3. And then we have 1/3 right here. Okay, so that makes 3 and 1/3. Now if we count them all the thirds individually, like we did initially, you count them all up and you would get 10/3. So we proved that 3 and 1/3 is equal to 10/3, and we show that we did our math right and made our correct mixed number. So in your homework, this is all you're going to be doing. You're going to be creating your mixed number or your whole number if you don't have a remainder, and then drawing out your circles to prove that the mixed number and the improper fraction are equal. Alrighty, so let's do another example. Now this example is going to be a little different. So this one isn't going to have a remainder, which means you won't have a fraction, right? If you don't have that bottom number, let me show you right here. If you do not have a remainder right here to become a numerator, then you don't have a fraction, and your improper fraction just turns into a whole number, right? So if it perfectly divides into itself, no fraction, it just turns into a whole number. So let's do that real quick. So 12 into 4. Now you could probably just do this in your head right away and turn it into a whole number, no problem. If you know your facts, 4 goes into 12 3 times. Now we'll still finish the problem just to show it to you, but hopefully you guys know that. 3 times 4 is 12, and you get 0. So the answer is just 3. 12 fourths is equal to 3. If you don't have a remainder and you only have your answer up here, which equals the whole number, right, then that's just your answer, 3. Now, if you were to take this numerator down here, this 0, and write 0 over 4, that's kind of unnecessary because all this means is 0. I have 0 out of 4 filled in. Well, that's just 0, right? So you don't need to write that. So we can get rid of that. We don't need that. Okay, so let's draw our circles to prove that we are correct. Okay, so obviously if our whole number is 3, we know we're going to need 3 circles. Okay, and they are fourths. It's a nice easy one to split up. Okay, so now we're going to prove that 3 is equal to 12 fourths. So if we count these out and color them in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so we see 4 out of 4 plus 4 out of 4 plus 4 out of 4 equals 12 out of 4, which also equals 3 wholes, right? Because we have 1, 2, 3 whole circles there. Okay, so we see that 3 is equal to 12 fourths. So in your homework today, this is what you're doing. You might have some problems where your improper fraction turns into a whole number, like this one that we just did. And then it makes your circles really easy because they're just all 100% colored in. But you're also going to have some that are like examples 1 and 2, where you had a remainder, which means you have a fraction left over, which turns it into a mixed number. So look back in the video, if you need help remembering how to do those first ones. But your homework is exactly like what we just did. Okay, so it says right here, assignment. Change the improper fractions to a whole number or to a mixed number. It depends on how it divides into it, right? Then draw a picture to show that the improper fraction is equal to the number that you wrote. So then you gotta draw your circles. Okay? So you're dividing these bottom numbers into those top numbers, right? How many times does 2 go into 7? What's your leftover amount? Whatever is left over, that's your fraction over 2, right? Same thing with these. How many times does 3 go into 12? How many times does 3 go into 8? Okay, so that is your homework. And if you still need to write them out, remember, like this, if you still need to write them out, and work them out like that, that is fine. Okay? It might take you a while to get to a point where it's easy for you to do it in your head. So if you still need to write out the little division problems, go ahead and do that if that helps you remember how to turn it into a mixed number. So you have a pretty decent mix of whole number ones in here and mixed number ones in here. When we Zoom today, if you have questions on this, I can take the time with you after our Zoom meeting to go over it with you if you have further questions. So just let me know. And if you need extra help, I can certainly help you on this. All right, have a great day, guys.